All right, guys, welcome back to Prepping with Sarge. If you're watching this video, it is probably springtime, and I gotta tell you, it is not too late to plant your seeds. As you know, Sarge is a big fan of Pinetree Garden Seeds, which you can find at www.superseeds.com. If you go over there and you use my coupon code SARGE10, you can get 10% off any orders $20 or more. In fact, we've got some Pinetree Garden Seeds today for some lettuce and dill that we're gonna put in the garden. It's gonna be a fun video. Stay with me now. All right, thank you so much for staying with me. So before we go ahead and put these seeds in the ground, just a couple quick housekeeping tips. I just want to remind you, if you're brand new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We would love to have you. I drop videos at least twice a week, always topics related to food self-sufficiency, preparedness, emergency preparedness. I do some knife reviews, do some wilderness survival foraging. If you are returning to the channel, thanks again so much for being a returning viewer. Don't forget to drop a like at some point. And if you could, watch the video all the way to the end. That helps us out with the watch time. Let's get over to the garden here. Let's start putting some seeds in the ground. All right, folks. So planting lettuce is super simple. In fact, it's one of the easiest crops that you can get started with. You can do this in a window box. You can do this inside your house in many cases if you've got a window that gets a good enough amount of sunlight. As far as the garden goes, you can start this ahead of time, or you can directly sow. Once your frosts have passed in your area, once the ground is warm enough to the touch that, things will start to germinate. And all we're gonna do, sorry, I'm picking out a weed there. All we do for this is basically dig a very, very shallow trench, which the camera may not be picking that up, but there's one here and there's one here. So we're gonna do a row of the wild lettuce, and we're gonna do a row of black-seeded Simpson, which is actually my favorite lettuce to grow. And I don't get crazy about worrying about how much I space this out. These are cut and come varieties, which basically means, go ahead and make a line in there. Don't worry too much about spacing. It's gonna grow up in a bunch. It doesn't make a head like other lettuces do. And basically you're gonna cut it. You're gonna come through when it's big enough to harvest. You're gonna cut it. Take about a third of the plant off. That's gonna be your salad for the night. Let it grow back. And you can do that about 6 times in my experience before it starts to get bitter. That's gonna depend a little bit on the heat in your area. Now I'm in South Carolina, so it probably gets bitter faster here than it would if you're up in the north. So that's what we're gonna do for the lettuce side of this. I'm gonna show you how to do that real quick. And basically, this is one that I like to grow every year. By midsummer, it starts to get a little bit bitter for me. Now, as I'm doing this here, I'd like to just make a brief mention also about you do not need to till your garden every year. We go through this every year when we do these videos. That is a myth. It is actually a very damaging type of agriculture to do. You can definitely till in your first year to get the soil ready, but you really don't want to till too much, because what that does is it actually kills all the earthworms in your soil. And it also damages the beneficial bacteria, which takes years to build up. This method of agriculture in the United States has absolutely destroyed our topsoil, and there are still people doing this kind of agriculture. It is not the way to go. Permaculture shows us to do no-till for most situations, right? Like, you do have to soften it up, but as you can see, all I did was, after that first year, right, of pouring this, and of course this is a raised bed, so it's a little different than ground level, but all I do is I just come in, make my trench. I'm not doing a ton of damage. There are earthworms in here, there is beneficial bacteria in here, and that's what makes my garden grow well. And also helps you cut down on your cost of having to do fertilizers. And we're just gonna come through, we're gonna do, to see what I'm doing, I'm not getting really scientific about it, I'm just making a little bit of a line of lettuce, okay? It's not complicated, and that's it. And I used probably a third of the packet on that one. That one is my black-seeded Simpson, so you can either mark that down in your gardening journal, or you can just put a marker in the ground, or you can just remember it. I kind of know what it looks like, so I'm good there. And then just cover it up just like I'm doing. Very, very thin layer. And then after I'm done filming today, I'm gonna come through and I'm gonna hit this with the sprinkler for a little while. We're gonna do the same thing over on this side with our wild lettuce variety. Now, the wild lettuce variety has a little bit more vitamins and some beneficial nutrients in there than the black-seeded Simpson. Black-seeded Simpson is, it tastes really good. It's a really nice sandwich lettuce, really nice for your salads, but it's not as nutrient dense as some of the other lettuces like this one. So that's why I'm planting both. And when I do my salads, I can mix them together, get a little bit more nutrients in than if I had just done the black-seeded Simpson. But man, that black-seeded Simpson tastes great, and it's so easy to grow. If you haven't purchased that yet, go over to superseeds.com, www.superseeds.com, and look up black-seeded Simpson, see if they still got it in stock. Add it to your cart, thank me later. Okay, that's it for the lettuce. See how easy that was? And basically I'm just gonna come through here. After I'm done filming, we'll hit this with the sprinkler. Let's head over to the dill patch. Folks, dill is one of my favorite herbs to grow. We love it on potatoes. That's probably my favorite way to use it, but of course you can use this on chicken. You can use this on fish. There's all kinds of different ways. You can add a little bit to your salad. It's super easy to grow. And you can't see it yet, but I will turn the camera when we're done planting this little section here. I actually have volunteer dill growing, and this is one of the reasons that it's so great to have. The variety that I like to use the most, there's several varieties of dill, but this one I've had great luck with, Mammoth Dill. And of course, you know, these are my friends over at Pinetree Garden Seeds, www.superseeds.com. And yeah, I love them guys. If you haven't caught on yet, this seed company has done fantastic for me. Very, very high germination rate, great prices. You know, this is just, it's shipping super fast. Customer service is top notch. Go over to www.superseeds.com. Add this one to your basket. Thank me later. Now, the reason we love this so much is when you grow dill, it has a tendency to reseed itself, okay? So what I've got here is, I'll show you in just a second, I've got volunteers growing over here. So I've already got a little dill patch started. All I'm doing is adding a little bit more to, you know, give me a little bit more of a harvest later on when it's time to harvest. And in the 3 states that I've grown in, my experience has been that dill is very, very good at reseeding itself. The birds come in and they'll love to eat the seeds. They will plant it all over your neighborhood and your neighbors will love you. Unless you're in an HOA, then they might not love you, and that's, you know, that's probably a topic for another video. You might be wondering what this is over here. This is our garlic. If you guys have been a long-time viewer on the channel, you know I grow garlic every year. It's one of our staple crops here. So we have videos out there on the garlic. I'll link those at the end, of course. You can check those out. There'll be more videos on garlic coming. Let's go ahead and put this dill in the ground though. And actually, this is a good companion plant for it. They tend to grow well together. You can actually disperse some dill in with your garlic because this is more of a root crop, and the dill, of course, grows above ground like a fern. So for the dill, same thing, super easy. Don't overthink it. Just dig a little hole, pour some in. You may thin it out. You may want to thin it out after it kind of comes up a little bit. You basically pick the strongest ferns that are coming out of the ground, but it is super, super simple. And then just cover it up like that, right? Don't overthink this stuff. I think we tend to overthink so much of our gardening. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be relaxing, right? So stop trying, you know, sometimes just give up on the measurement stick. Just get out there and have a little fun with it, right? Don't overthink it. Dill grows super easy. It's, in fact, you may, if you plant a lot of it, you may wish, dang, I wish I hadn't planted so much. No, it's, we use it, and when we have too much, we give it away. It's one of those things. I'll dehydrate it. I'll show you some more videos with the dehydrator later this summer. I dehydrate it, put it in a jar, and then I give it to people as gifts. So, all right, let me turn the camera around here. Let's show you this volunteer dill, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. All right, so that there is volunteer dill. Right there. Whoops. Right there. Let's see, another one right there, and right there. Okay, and right there. So I've got a lot of it already coming up. So we just added a little bit over here in this bare section here. And then after you plant it, you're just gonna come through. And I like to use cypress bark mulch here. I've talked about that in the other videos, but just to recap, cypress bark mulch is better than the pine tree mulch that a lot of people use because this actually has some insect repelling properties. A little thin layer over the top of your garden like that will actually help to protect it from the hot sun in August, keep some water retention in there. But the reason, again, that I like the cypress bark mulch so much is that cypress bark mulch, unlike other mulches, has some insect repelling properties. All right, that's going to do it for today. I hope this was helpful for you. It is, again, if you're watching this video, it is not too late to order your garden seeds. Tell them Sarge sent you. Keep planting your seeds, keep stacking your silver. This is Prepping with Sarge.